This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
It just came out of nowhere. We heard branches start busting everywhere. Our fence actually got taken out, and then our vehicle is actually probably damaged because a tree landed on it, but my family is okay, and that's the important part.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties waking up to storm damage after possible tornadoes ripped through the Miami Valley. This is a neighborhood in Greeneville where residents worked through the night to clean up the mess.
Right now, we are still under a code red weather alert as we get ready for a second round of storms today. Meteorologist Nick Maruziak will have more on that in a second.
But first, we want to begin our team coverage this morning with Melina Brown. She joins us live this morning in Greeneville. We saw a bulk of the damage overnight. Melina?
Guys, I was able to get a glimpse of that damage driving in. Now, we got a lot of reports about the stadium, the high school stadium, having some damage, and it's quite extensive. I'm going to take a step out so you can look. I believe this is the press box right here that would be sitting on the top of these bleachers here, just completely devastated. We do know that school was canceled as of last night, so there will be no school for the district today, and thousands are still without power. When I was driving in, obviously all of the stoplights were out. They had stop signs set up, makeshift stop signs. And as I was driving through some of these roads through Greeneville, it's a pretty small area, there is a ton of trees completely uprooted. As we were actually driving in here to the stadium, we were having to weave through giant trees and branches and leaves that were blown here from across the street. I'm looking up into the stadium. I'm wondering if we can get a closer look up here in the stadium. You can see we just showed you the roof, but if we look really close, I know it's dark, and hopefully we'll get a better image here when it lightens up, but you can see that press box, the remaining foundation still sitting at the top of these bleachers. Obviously, we want people to be safe this morning waking up. There is a ton of debris, especially huge trees in the roadways, so hopefully everyone in the area is aware of what's going on from last night. We do know this tornado came and happened around 8 p.m., around 8:30. So
after falling from Ohio Stadium. Ohio State tells us she's a family member of one of the graduates. Police don't suspect foul play, nor the fall being the result of an accident. The incident is still under investigation. OSU says counseling has been made available for anyone who needs it.
Our time right now is 5:07. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Some describing it as the most dramatic day in the Trump hush money trial. I'm Christine Frizzell with more on what we learned from Stormy Daniels.
You're watching Your Day. Her name became synonymous with scandal and Donald Trump. The jury in New York City courtroom hearing directly from Stormy Daniels, the adult film star who's accused of having an affair with the former president. Christine Frizzell shares what she said and what it could mean for the case against Trump.
Face to face in a New York City courtroom, former adult film star Stormy Daniels recounts initially refusing Donald Trump's invitation to dinner, later changing her mind. It was her accusations of an affair with Trump in 2006, followed by a $130,000 hush money payment 10 years later, just before the 2016 election, that are in some ways at the heart of the current case against him.
The primary reason I think she was there as a witness was to say the former president had a significant motivation to keep her quiet, to pay her the $130,000 so that she remained quiet or hushed.
Daniels recounted coming out of the bathroom after their dinner to find him posing on the bed in his boxers, saying he was bigger and blocking the way, adding, "I was not threatened verbally or physically." Trump described as increasingly irritated as Daniels gave explicit testimony about a sexual encounter that followed, details objected to multiple times by Trump's attorneys, objections often supported by Judge Juan Marchand. Trump has repeatedly denied any sexual encounter ever happened. His attorney Todd Blanche now calling for a mistrial.
Well, a mistrial means you start all over. It means that this was so prejudicial. What the Trump team is saying that, look, she's talking about a lot of details about this relationship, some of which are new we haven't heard before.
The request for mistrial was denied as the former president continues to make the case any payments made were not illegal.
We didn't put it down as construction costs, the purchase of sheetrock, the electrical cost. The legal expense that we paid was put down as legal expense. There's nothing else you could say.
Prosecutors say they believe there will be 2 to 3 weeks left in this case, which will almost certainly include testimony from Donald Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
After 2 rounds of talks, House Speaker Mike Johnson is still in hot water as Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to be going forward with a motion to vacate. The two met again yesterday, with Greene offering a list of demands. She's calling for no further aid to Ukraine and reinstating the Hastert rule, meaning the House will only vote on bills that the majority of Republicans support. Johnson has relied on Democrats to pass measures, including the $61 million foreign aid package.
These are not unreasonable requests. These are the right things to do. These are the right things to do for our conference. And our Republican speaker, who ran through the Democrat agenda, should be able to get it done since we're a Republican-controlled Congress.
I take Marjorie's ideas and Thomas's and everybody else's equally, and we assess them on their own value, and where we can make improvements and changes and all of that we do, and that's what this is. There's nothing more than that going on.
Democrats have promised to hold back the motion to vacate. Former President Donald Trump also opposes the effort.
TikTok is now suing the U.S. government over a law that could force a nationwide ban of the app. The measure was included in a key foreign aid package signed by President Biden last month. It gave the app's Chinese parent company ByteDance 9 months to sell TikTok. It will be restricted from U.S. app stores. Officials worry China could use the app to collect user data for espionage. TikTok and ByteDance say the law violates free speech.
A federal judge granting Trump's request to push back a key step for Donald Trump's classified documents case. The critical court filing deadline was set for tomorrow. Trump's lawyers were supposed to submit a detailed list of classified materials they intended to use at the trial. The judge did not set a new date, increasing the chances for the trial to be pushed past the upcoming November election.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, good morning, and here's the view over Miamisburg itself right for now. We are talking about a fairly quiet morning, perhaps a touch of haze due to all of the moisture that we got yesterday. It did rain, and a lot of us picked up just rain. Some of us picked up severe weather. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Yesterday, we talked about the environment was supportive of tornadoes and large hail. Today, not quite as much. Now, can I completely rule it out? No. no, but this screams more of a isolated threat for any type of showers and thunderstorms, and it's relegated second half day. Up until 2-3 p.m., the big storyline is going to be how warm it gets. It's going to get low to mid 80s across most of the Miami Valley. There you see what could be a cluster of showers and thunderstorms. The further south you go, the better. In fact, a lot of the storms are going to miss us. The biggest risk of severe weather is actually well to our south, down in the Tennessee River Valley. Meanwhile, for tomorrow, scattered showers will continue, perhaps even a burst or two of heavy rain. The concern may be just the areas that have gotten a lot of rain recently for that to happen. Again, further to the south, bigger threat. In fact, 4 higher than it was yesterday. Tornadoes possible, large hail. Doesn't seem like that's as much of a threat, but high winds and, again, some heavy-duty rain could be problematic. Rest of the forecast, showers will continue on again, off again through Saturday, and it does look like the rest of the forecast will be cooler up until next week. On the roads this morning, the 675-75 area does look like there may be an incident in the ramp there. It's hard to see because of the angle, but right for now, that is about it, and it does seem like you could get by there, just maybe a little bit slower.
Greenville is cleaning up this morning after potential tornadoes swept through the Miami Valley.
Melina Brown joins us live with a look at the damage this morning. Melina?
Good morning, guys. We know folks here in Greenville are going to be waking up to some widespread damage this morning after that tornado hit last night. Now, we know that the school district has closed school for the day, and right now I'm actually at the high school football stadium where they're dealing with some heavy destruction. We had a report last night that the press box was destroyed and completely blown over. You're looking at what remains of it, and we're going to actually take you up to the top of the bleachers where you can still see the foundation of it still standing. Now, throughout the area, thousands are still without power. As I drove into the town, all the stoplights were out and temporary stop signs were put up so that people knew where to stop and avoid any accidents. So far, we do know that only one minor injury has been reported, and most importantly, there's no fatalities so far. Multiple city agencies are out this morning starting to clean up the area, and the National Weather Service has confirmed they're working with the Darke County Emergency Management Department, and they should be out here at some point today to do a survey of this damage, and then we'll get the official report on this extent of this tornado.
Thank you, Melina. Our time right now is 5:18, still to come.
It is a newer type of therapy to treat cancer. I'm Liz Bowness. Meet a family grateful it saved a child's life. We share the story just ahead.
You're watching Your Day. Right now, you're looking at the remains of a livestock barn in Illinois after strong storms caused it to collapse. It happened yesterday near the town of Harvard, about half a mile south of the Wisconsin state line. Take a closer look here. You can see the large two-story barn reduced to a pile of wood. Neighbors brought in heavy equipment to help firefighters at the scene. Most of the animals survived as firefighters rescued sheep, goats, a cow, and several chickens and ducks. No humans were hurt. And I'm assuming this is the same system that hit us.
Yes, exactly. So the dynamics were there pretty much across the board. Indiana had several tornado warnings. I'm not quite sure if they did have any type of tornadoes. I think they did have one, if I recall, from looking through some of the damage reports. But you know, when you look at this, it's a case where it was across the area. We did have severe weather, and it does look like there's going to be another outbreak today, more towards our south.
Oh man, it has been a busy severe weather season.
Yes, exactly. And here's the other thing. It's going to be a busy hurricane season by all intents and purposes. So this is a case where it's a double barrel system. All right, let's go over to the weather wall, and we are going to talk about, well, some weather, shall we?
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, I want to hone in on why we're seeing some severe weather. And one of the reasons is it has been very much so a warm one. And whenever you get warm air, there is a better chance of it becoming unstable. And that's what's been happening here over the last couple of days. Temperature-wise this morning, low 60s. Also of note, it is very much so starting to get into the point of the year where we're going to start talking about it becoming humid outside, not relative humidity, but actually humid, meaning dew points mid 60s. That's what we saw yesterday. That's why those storms had plenty of moisture for fuel for those fires. Now for today, it's going to be a warm, dare I even say hot day. We still think there's a window for thunderstorms. That would be more towards the tail end of the day. So that would put us probably on the downside of peak heating. But much like yesterday, I think that there is still just enough dynamics that it is towards the evening and the first part of dark that we are going to have to watch storms. Unlike yesterday, the dynamics are nowhere near as good for severe weather. So at the present point, maybe a storm or two, but that may be about it. On the roads this morning, there's still that incident, I believe, over on the exit ramp. Now, I switched cameras to the Lyons Road camera because sometimes you get a better view onto 741, but unfortunately they have flipped it around. Right for now, though, the only other incident, Union Road at Dayton Farmersville Road. We're pointing out that you're likely to also see delays Darke County as well as up towards the Mercer County area where we did have those probable tornadoes.
More than a third of Americans have never felt more uninspired at work than they do right now, apparently, according to new research. It was conducted by Talker Research for Lifetime Work, the co-working company for Lifetime. The survey found 37% of those who have a work routine consider it to be stale, especially those who work fully in person. Hey, why do brown eggs cost more than white eggs? It comes down to farm economics. It actually costs more to keep the brown egg-laying hens happy and well-fed. Farmers say it costs more to make a dozen brown eggs because the chickens that produce them just tend to eat more. Deaths from drug overdoses and firearm-related injuries have reached record levels in the U.S. in recent years. The study published Saturday in the medical journal JAMA says the burden has increased significantly over time. In fact, nearly 100,000 children lost parents due to a drug overdose or gun violence in 2020 alone, almost 3 times more than in 1999. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Monica Melpaz. Here's to your health.
A family in Tennessee is saying a big thank you today to a medical team who helped save their son's life. Medical reporter Liz Bonis shares how a breakthrough called proton therapy helped him recover from a brain tumor.
Hey there, everybody. Hello to you. Proton therapy uses a beam of protons to treat certain types of cancer. It minimizes the risks to surrounding tissue, which is especially critical for children.
Well, it was really just pretty severe headaches.
Atticus Schoonover and his mom Maria found out Atticus needed this proton therapy when at age 9, images led to this diagnosis from their pediatrician in Tennessee.
And he just said, "I am so sorry, but there is a large tumor in Atticus's brain."
Since the Schoonovers didn't have the proton therapy in their area, they made the decision to bring Atticus here to Ohio's Cincinnati Children's Hospital. The hospital provided this video.
There are about 40 or so proton centers in the United States. Cincinnati is one of the only ones that has a dedicated research gantry which we can do research on. So not only are we using cutting edge technology currently to treat tumors, we're also studying how we can make that better.
So as these photos show, Atticus bravely took on this therapy for several weeks before going through chemotherapy. Proton therapy works by extracting positively charged protons from hydrogen gas. It then accelerates them through the cyclotron at up to nearly 2/3 the speed of light. The protons are guided to the tumor site by powerful magnetic and electrical fields.
It worked fantastic. It was great.
Well, Atticus says the time in the hospital was not easy. The team here, his family says,
they did everything that they could to try to bond and connect with Atticus on various aspects that brought him joy.
The most amazing part is that Atticus is now 12 and has no cognitive deficits.
Going pretty well, straight A's.
There's also no apparent cancer present.
He now gets regular follow-up screenings, but his family says they could not be more grateful to this team and the technology that helped save his life. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Our time right now is 5:28, still to come.
There's widespread damage after a tornado hit Greeneville last night. What we're seeing is coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
And then all of a sudden, there's fences everywhere. The roads are blocked. There's people going outside, just checking out all the damage. It's a little overwhelming.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties waking up to storm damage after possible tornadoes ripped through the Miami Valley. You're taking a look at a barn in Fort Recovery that was hit. You can see the roof ripped off and emergency crews responding to the scene.
Right now, we are still under a code red weather alert as we keep our eyes on another set of storms today. Meteorologist Nick Ruziak will have more on that in a second.
But first, we begin our live team coverage this morning with Melina Brown. She joins us this morning from Greeneville, where the community is cleaning up at this hour. Melina?
Guys, the sun is just up upon the horizon in front of me, and as soon as the sun comes up, we're going to be able to see a lot more of the damage. Folks here in Greenville waking up, having to deal with the damage. Let's take a look. We know school was closed today, and there were reports of the stadium having some damage. This right here is or was the press box that sat up on the top of the bleachers. If we take a look up there, you can see again it's dark, so as soon as it's a little bit brighter we'll have a better look at it. But that's the foundation of the press box there. You can see here there's tennis balls, there is wood, there's wiring, even nails everywhere. So we're going to try and stay as far as possible, but also close enough to show you the damage. We do know that there's multiple agencies out this morning. On my drive here, I saw quite a few crews trying to work to get some of this damage cleaned up already, and also hopefully restore power, because we know that thousands in this area are still without power. As I was driving in, all of the stoplights were out. There were temporary stop signs to make sure people were aware of the road crossings and intersections and keep people safe. Now, so far this morning, we do know that there's only one injury reported. It was a minor injury. Most importantly, very, very glad to hear that there's no fatalities reported. And again, there's multiple agencies cleaning up. There's going to be folks here as soon as the sun comes up. If they're not already up now cleaning up, they're going to be cleaning up throughout the day. And we do know that the National Weather Service has confirmed that they are working with the Darke County Emergency Management Department. They'll be out here some point today to survey this damage and let us know what they think the strength of this tornado was. For now, I'm going to send things back to you in the studio.
We continue our team coverage this morning with meteorologist Nick Maruziak. And Nick, I watched the storm unfold live on television last night during our coverage, and this kind of shows some of the spots where the tornado happened.
Yeah, so we've highlighted the two areas. So you have the Greenville, show you that storm. And there you see the deep reds moving through. That is indicative of very strong rotation. And when we talk about rotation, that's the sign that that storm is spinning. And typically we would see strong rotation, any type of tornadic event. Also point your attention towards the just to the west of Salina area. So there you see that other cell. That was over by Fort Recovery. I believe it's called Mastodon area. That's the area where there may have been another tornado. So two areas that we have looked at and said there probably were tornadoes yesterday, and we did have damage.
We counted them this morning, around a dozen tornado warnings. It was a very active time, and we aren't out of the woods just yet. We do have a code red weather alert for today as well.
Exactly. So let's go over to the weather wall, where this morning we're waking up to clearing skies. There's still plenty of rain off to the south. We do expect it to be, by and large, a sunny start to your day. So when can we see storms? I think it's more towards the tail end of the evening and overnight. And the general theme for today is a much lower chance in the Miami Valley. The best chance is well off to the south. Damaging winds still probably the #1 factor of severe weather. Hail and tornadoes possible, although it's seemingly a lot less likely than yesterday. And one thing I'd like to point out, based on all the rain that we received yesterday, based on potential for more heavy rain today and rain for tomorrow, localized flooding may be somewhat of a concern. If you are traveling this morning, obviously there are still some damaged areas. So State Road 49 blocked between 5th and 4th. Of course, that's in Darke County. State Road 219, that's blocked between State Line and Wabash Road. That is up again in the Mercer County area. In terms of Dayton area, Union Road at Dayton Farmersville Road and 70 over by the Brookville-Salem Pike. That's exit 24. There is road construction in and around that area as they work on the shoulders.
We will continue to bring you the latest updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts and directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores.
Israeli troops have seized control of a vital entryway of the Rafah crossing. U.S. officials believe the military operation is limited as negotiation talks continued yesterday. The U.S. opposes a full-scale invasion that would dramatically impact humanitarian assistance in the region. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller says they're working to achieve an immediate ceasefire and release of hostages.
Negotiations are ongoing in Cairo today. We continue to believe that there is space to reach a deal, and we are trying incredibly hard to push one over the line.
Miller also clearing up recent reports of Hamas accepting a ceasefire deal. He says Hamas did not accept a deal and that the group only sent over a response to the proposal.
We're learning more about the shipment of ammunition from the United States to Israel that was paused last week. The shipment includes over 1,800 bombs. According to a U.S. official, it was withheld over concerns about their potential use in Rafah. Now, Israeli leaders have warned for weeks that an invasion of Rafah will occur at some point in the future, where more than 1 million civilians are sheltering. The U.S. and others have publicly stated that such a ground operation should not occur.
The last body of the missing construction worker was recovered in the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. 37-year-old Jose Manuel Lopez was recovered yesterday. Maryland state authorities were alerted after divers located the body. There were 6 construction workers on the bridge when a cargo ship hit it, causing the collapse in late March. The FBI and the National Transportation Board continue to investigate the bridge collapse.
Play Mother's Day Mania for a chance to win. Just watch your day and look for the QR code to enter. Get the trivia question right, you could win your mom a $100 prepaid debit card and a chance to be the $5,000 weekly winner. For complete contest rules, go to Dayton247now.com.
Our time right now is 5:38. Don't forget, you can get your headline scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. More rural hospitals are now in the financial red, with some at risk of getting shut down. We explain which areas are most impacted coming up.
You're watching Your Day. We're now getting a first look at the damage these storms left on other parts of the country. In Michigan, several twisters swept across the southern part of the state. Carter Landis joins us now with a closer look at the damage.
devastating tornado damage blowing through Pavilion Estates, a mobile home park in Kalamazoo. Residents being evacuated due to roofs ripped off and homes flipped upside down. News Channel 3 spoke with Kalamazoo County Sheriff Richard Fuller last night. He told us there were around 16 or 17 homes gone or off their foundation in the mobile home park. First responders lining the streets looking for people and making sure they are safe. Residents handing water to each other, showing a strong sense of community in a dangerous time. Consumers Energy was also on scene. They cut power and gas to all homes. Despite that, Fuller telling us people could stay in their homes if they would have liked, as long as they felt safe and comfortable in doing so. Fuller telling us people have suffered only minor injuries and there are no fatalities at this time. Fuller commending the work his crews and the other crews he has called in have done.
When anything like this hits, you have to bring people in. And once we got everybody alerted and en route or in on site, it went really well.
Fuller also told us people should stay away from Pavilion Estates if they absolutely do not need to be there. In Kalamazoo, Carter Landis, News Channel 3.
I feel like this is video that we've been seeing a lot of, just the debris everywhere, buildings damaged. I mean, this has been a storm that's impacted a lot of areas, including us here.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a multi-day outbreak. And in fact, today could be what is the third day. If you consider back 2 days ago, we had storms out around Oklahoma. In fact, they had the high risk. And you could see that there. I mean, that is intense video. And whenever we do see this, I always encourage people, the first thing you should do is stay safe. So
yeah,
obviously
not stand right next to that window.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually had some people that reached out to me and said, I don't have a basement. Where do I go? Into your room. You know, you want to stay away from that window again.
Absolutely.
But all right, let's go over to the weather wall where yet again we may have some strong to severe storms in our area.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, so for today, I think it's the big storyline early through probably at least afternoon is going to be how warm we get. It's low to mid 80s. We'll surpass yesterday's highs by at least a few degrees. And I do think this is going to come down as one of those really, really intensely warm spring days. That sets the stage as we get into tonight for us to see the potential for some storms. Now, does that 100% mean we're going to see storms? No. I think a lot of them are going to end up further to the south. But there is, again, a window for us to see severe weather in and around the Miami Valley. It's a lower end chance that we'll kind of detail that. But we're pointing out that tomorrow we also have a chance for some heavy rain. This is the back-to-back systems that can produce that localized street flooding. As for today's severe weather threat, again, very much so lower. Yesterday, all of these were up closer to the moderate, maybe even getting above it when it came to high winds and flooding. Today, we backed off. I still think that tornadoes and large hail may be possible, but if you look over, there is a thin strip of red. That's the level 4. That's all further to the southwest. So I think a lot of the severe weather will be well to our south. We may still get clipped by some of the more northern storms, though.
Boy Scouts of America is now rebranding as Scouting America. The organization wants to help more people feel welcome. The announcement comes after a series of changes, including allowing gay youth to join and ending a ban on gay adult leaders. The organization began accepting girls into the Cub Scouts, in 2018 and welcomed older girls to join its flagship Scouts BSA program the following year. The name change will go into effect next February, marking the organization's 115th anniversary.
Only 40% of the renters in the U.S. think they'll be able to buy a home. That's the lowest number since the Federal Reserve Bank of New York started its survey 10 years ago. High real estate prices coupled with high mortgage rates are putting home ownership out of reach for many. In the Northeast, only 26% of renters think they can buy a home. That's down from 51% in just a year.
According to a new report, half of America's rural hospitals are now operating in the financial red. Jeff Harris explains which areas are most impacted.
In 2023, 43% of rural hospitals were operating in the red. That number then jumped to 50% this year, which means healthcare for millions of Americans could be in limbo.
We've been seeing a steady increase in the percent of rural hospitals that are losing money any given year.
According to a new report from healthcare consultancy Chartis, not only are 50% of rural hospitals in the financial red, 418 are vulnerable to closing down.
Well, 1 out of 2 rural hospitals, yeah, that really does make an impact.
To operate in the red means these hospitals are open and running while actively losing money. As for why, Holmes says there could be a number of reasons, including the way healthcare is now being delivered.
The things that used to be done on a 3-day inpatient stay a year ago can now be done on an outpatient. And so that's lower revenue.
The report found that Kansas, New York, Wyoming, Vermont, and Alabama are the states with the highest percentage of rural hospitals operating in the red. Utah is the only state where the percentage of rural hospitals in the red is less than 20%.
Obviously when your hospital's in the red, then there's more likelihood of closure. And so that has big implications when you don't have a hospital next door to access, when the next hospital might be another 2 hours away.
Now, as you heard Holmes mention, access to inpatient care has been a problem. The report found that 167 rural hospitals since 2010 have either closed or converted to a model that excludes inpatient care. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
Our time right now, 5:47, taking a live look in Greenville this morning. They're waking up to some damage after a tornado went through the area last night. Milena Brown joins us just ahead with what she's seeing.
You're watching Your Day.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties are cleaning up after storms swept through the Miami Valley.
Milena Brown joins us live in Greenville with a look at the damage. And Milena, what are you seeing there?
Good morning, guys. Right now we are at the Greenville Stadium. You can see here, this is the press box that was sitting at the top of the bleachers at this stadium that has now been completely blown over. I actually did take a step out on to the field itself and was able to see the door of the press box, as well as this right here we now can see is the roof. We can see lighting, we can see wiring. And so school was canceled today. We know that. We know that the community is going to be dealing with a lot of cleaning up today. But what's really important is we do know as of last night, only one minor injury was reported and there's no fatalities. And that's probably the most important thing and the thing that's on a lot of people's minds right now. So that is very good situation, obviously, but still having to deal with a lot of this damage is going to be very heartbreaking and hard for a lot of people. There are still thousands of people without power. This morning when I was driving in, there was no power. And we do know that there's a ton of city management crews out here trying to get a hold of this situation and hopefully get it cleaned up as soon as possible. And of course, we're going to stay out here and continue to report on the damage. Here in just a few minutes, we're actually going to be moving locations to show you some of the damage that is behind this stadium, so stay tuned for that. We do know the National Weather Service has confirmed that they are working with the Darke County Emergency Management Team, and they will be out here today to survey this damage and figure out the strength of the tornado that touched down here, and hopefully we'll get that report sooner rather than later. As soon as we have an update, we'll bring that to you here on air and online. Back to you.
Our time right now is 5:52. Taking a live look over Cincinnati this morning. They're recovering from some rough weather last night. We've got to look at some of the damage now down near there next.
You're watching Your Day.
We want to give you a look at some of the damage they're seeing towards Cincinnati from last night's storms. You can see some power lines down there, trees as well, causing quite the mess there. We know Lebanon seeing some damage this morning as well.
Yeah, and actually when I was in here yesterday about 10:30, we were wrapping up coverage of Champaign, and we were actually tossed to Darke County. And as that's happening, we're looking at the radar, and all of a sudden we start noticing a debris ball signature in Warren County, which is never a good sign, and that's indicative of a strong tornado. Now, I'm not quite sure if the National Weather Service is going down there. Obviously, they have said that they are going, they are planning with emergency managers, but based on the fact that right now there are multiple areas, and we have potential severe weather today, they may be limiting where they go to.
Yeah, we're keeping a close eye on that as well.
Yeah, let's go over to the weather wall and I'll show you what's going on. We're waking up to somewhat of a haze outside. The humidity is pretty high owing to the fact that A, we have a lot of the lingering moisture, B, we have cooled off. Later on today, temperatures upper 60s giving way to low to mid 80s by the time we get in the afternoon. That being said, we should be very quiet up until even at the earliest, the evening hours. A lot of the severe weather may miss us to the south. Still a window from about 6 to, let's say, 10 p.m. for us to see some strong to severe storms in our area. This environment is nowhere near as conducive for there to be severe weather as it was yesterday. But again, there still could be a window. For tomorrow, I think it's just going to be scattered showers, perhaps a burst or two of heavy rain. The main concern realistically over here the next few days may not necessarily be as much severe weather as it is those periods of heavy rain. You get enough of them and they end up forming that train effect, well, you could end up with some flash flooding, including slow-lying areas beginning to see some ponding, and perhaps yesterday we saw the worst extent, which is some parts down south of our area actually beginning to flood out. Saturday, more showers are possible. No, Friday and Saturday both going to be cooler, as well as Sunday only in the upper 60s. Monday and Tuesday, low to mid 70s. And yesterday, I had the privilege of going over to Mark Twain Elementary. Couldn't remember the school there for a second. And we did Team Tornado. And that was the first time I actually said, this is a perfect case of you get to put in what you're learning here and use. Know your safe spot, have a plan. Yesterday, we were warning everybody. I think all these tornadoes had a pretty good lead time. Plus, we issued the code red. So when I talk to people, I say, always know what's going on, stay weather aware. Yesterday, a perfect case of example of why you need it to be.
Yeah, we heard Natalie on air last night repeating over and over again, find your safe spot, find your safe spot. And good warning to be issuing to the little ones, especially maybe helping ease some of those fears about the storms.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a lot more coming up on your day at 6 a.m.
Folks waking up to extensive damage here in Greenville this morning. What we've seen so far is coming up.
You're watching
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
It just came out of nowhere. We heard branches start busting everywhere. Our fence actually got taken out, and then our vehicle is actually probably damaged because a tree landed on it, but my family is okay, and that's the important part.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties waking up to storm damage after possible tornadoes ripped through the Miami Valley. This is a neighborhood in Greenville where residents worked through the night to clean up.
Right now, we are still under a code red weather alert as we get ready for a second round of storms today. Meteorologist Nick Maruziak will have more on that in a second.
But first, we begin our team coverage this morning with Melena Brown. She is live in Greenville, where we saw a bulk of the damage overnight. Melena?
Good morning, guys. What I can tell you is now that the sun is coming up and I've been able to walk a little bit more of this football stadium, the high school football stadium for Greenville, it's honestly devastated right now. You can see here, this is one of the lights that would light up this stadium. It has been completely blown over. You can see it was a post that was actually posted up behind these bleachers. It was completely blown over. And what you're also looking at is the foundation of the press box, which we showed you earlier is probably a good 50, 60 feet away, blown to complete pieces at another part of the field here. There's glass all over the place. There's wiring down. We are trying to be as careful as possible, but we are seeing a lot more of the damage now that the sun is coming up. But what's really important is we do know last night only one minor injury was reported and no fatalities. Of course, that's what we want to hear. We never want people to be injured in these situations. We know emergency crews have been out since the tornado hit last night. Now there's thousands of people still without power, so hopefully that will be restored at some point here today. We're not sure of that timeline, but I do know that some of the emergency crews have been able to put up temporary stop signs at some of those intersections to hopefully avoid people getting into accidents or any more chaos. But of course, the National Weather Service should be out here at some point today. They have said that they're working with the Darke County Emergency Management Team. We're going to try to talk to some folks out here this morning once we get out of this football stadium and maybe closer into some of the homes. We are going to try and see if we can talk to some people, see how they're doing and what they experienced last night. Most importantly, when I was driving here, there was a ton of trees uprooted, there was debris, there's damage. There's a lot to see out here this morning, and so we're going to keep everyone up to date throughout the day.
Clearly a mess out there in Greenville, and we continue our live team coverage with Nick. And Nick, we're taking a look at the radar from last night. That's the storm that caused all that damage.
Yeah, and this is right at 8:30. You can see the reds and the greens, and when they get really bright and next to each other, that's indicative of very fast rotation. And what we saw on this is not just rotation over Greenville, but actually up around the Fort Recovery. I believe it's called Macedon area over in Mercer County. And my apologies if I'm not saying that right, but that one was even weaker compared to this one. That was some really intense, what we call couples or couplet when it comes to these storms. That's very indicative of strong winds that are wrapping around. With that, the hook echo, that's a sign that there was tornado. To my knowledge, I'm not quite sure if we ever saw a debris ball signature with this, but either way, this was very much so a probable tornado.
Yeah, the watch didn't end until the early morning hours, and now we are looking forward to the next weather maker.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go over to the weather wall and kind of set the stage for what's likely today. We do have a frontal boundary that's off to the south. That'll meander its way north. Depending on how far it meanders, we could be looking at the potential for some storms in our area, but that would be more towards probably even after dark. Temperature-wise, low 60s, upper 60s, eventually settling in the 70s. A lot of sunshine and clouds mixed. In fact, probably the second half of the morning and towards the afternoon, it will become sunny. That does set the stage for this evening, overnight. Damaging winds, probably your primary threat. Can't completely rule out hail or tornado, but very much so on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of overall risk. Also worth pointing out, based on the amount of rain we saw, there are some areas that are absolutely inundated with water today, and because of that, we could see some more localized flooding. So keep in mind, we're still going to have some hazards from the storms, and like to reiterate, the National Weather Service is coordinating with multiple agencies, including, I believe, Darke County, perhaps Warren County, as well as Mercer County. Now, in terms of traffic this morning, we're not seeing any major issues on the interstates, but a highlight, State Road 219, that's up again, Mercer County, that is west of the lake up there. That is where it is blocked between State Line and Wabash. State Road 49 between 5th and 4th Street. And we do have 70 westbound and eastbound in the area of, I believe it is Brookville-Salem Pike. That's exit 24. That is where there's road construction on the shoulder. And we're still watching an issue on 75 over by 675. On one of the exit ramps, there is some sort of a issue there. It isn't blocking traffic that badly, but there is at least somewhat of a slowdown in that area.
Now a live look at the AES Ohio outage map, where you can see over 2,000 people are without power this morning. Now we'll continue to keep you updated on those outages. You can get push alerts sent right to your phone. Just download our Dayton 24/7 Now app. It's easy to do, so just take out your phone and scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to your app store to download it for free.
We now know when the man accused of brutally attacking a security guard, firefighter, and police officer will go on trial. James Fickling's trial is set to begin August 19th. Back in October, 25-year-old James Fickling reportedly walked into the downtown Dayton Premier Health building. stripped off most of his clothes and pulled a fire alarm. When confronted by a security guard, police say Fickling knocked the 66-year-old guard unconscious and gouged out one of her eyes, permanently blinding her. Fickling faces 9 charges, including felonious assault, kidnapping, assault, and inducing panic. He's pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, and after 2 evaluations, he's been found competent to stand trial.
The Franklin County Coroner's Office has identified the woman who died during OSU's commencement Sunday. 53-year-old Larissa Brady died after falling from Ohio Stadium. Ohio State tells us she's a family member of one of the graduates. Police don't suspect foul play, nor the fall being the result of an accident. The incident is still under investigation. OSU says counseling has been made available for anyone who needs it.
Our time right now is 6:07. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. More rural hospitals are now in the financial red, with some at risk of getting shut down. We explain which areas are most impacted coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, we are looking at more threats for damaging winds. And while tornado or hail is possible, I don't think this is the best setup that we've seen for that. In the meantime, it is worth pointing out that today is going to continue our recent warm and humid trend. It's in the low 60s and upper 50s this morning. And when you factor in the dew points are still low 60s, not only is it pretty mild, but it is very much so saturated outside, which means patchy fog may be possible this morning. I don't really expect a lot of issues with that. Later on today, there could be a window for storms. I don't think it's going to happen during the daytime. So again, big storyline may be temperatures during the daytime itself. Upper 60s at 9 a.m. By 11, well into the 70s. Getting about 80 degrees as soon as 1 p.m. Again, very much so on the warm end of the spectrum. By 3 to 5, we'll be well in the 80s. As for the timing of the storms, at the absolute earliest, maybe around 6 p.m. But I'm thinking at this point it's more towards where we saw the storms last night, which is 8, 9, 10 p.m. So if you are going to be out and about, just keep that in mind that we are talking about some rather warm weather. We just had a traffic issue reported in. So Max, our digital producer, told me that there was a report of a pedestrian strike. Now, we don't have a lot of information at this second, but it is over by 725 and River Road. So 725 and River Road, you may want to avoid the area. Again, we did get a report of a pedestrian being hit.
According to a new report, half of America's rural hospitals are now operating in the financial red. Jeff Harris explains which areas are most impacted.
In 2023, 43% of rural hospitals were operating in the red. That number then jumped to 50% this year, which means healthcare for millions of Americans could be in limbo.
We've been seeing a steady increase in the percent of rural hospitals that are losing money any given year.
According to a new report from healthcare consultancy Chartis, not only are 50% of rural hospitals in the financial red, 418 are vulnerable to closing down.
Well, 1 out of 2 rural hospitals, yeah, that really does make an impact.
To operate in the red means these hospitals are open and running while actively losing money. As for why, Holmes says there could be a number of reasons, including the way healthcare is now being delivered.
The things that used to be done on a 3-day inpatient stay a year ago can now be done on an outpatient. And so that's lower revenue.
The report found that Kansas, New York, Wyoming, Vermont, and Alabama are the states with the highest percentage of rural hospitals operating in the red. Utah is the only state where the percentage of rural hospitals in the red is less than 20%.
Obviously when your hospital's in the red, then there's more likelihood of closure. And so that has big implications when you don't have a hospital next door to access, when the next hospital might be another 2 hours away.
Now, as you heard Holmes mention, access to inpatient care has been a problem. The report found that 167 rural hospitals since 2010 have either closed or converted to a model that excludes inpatient care. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
Our time right now is 6:13. We're getting our first look at some of the damage those storms left in parts of our area down towards Cincinnati. Coming up, a closer look at the damage and what we can expect from today's storms.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
We now want to show you some of the damage we're seeing in the Cincinnati area this morning after last night's storms. And we know Warren County was one of the areas hit, Lebanon being one of those towns, not just far down the road. Yeah, about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, you talk about Lebanon, then you have Darke County, you have Mercer County. Champaign County did actually have a tornado warning as well. Not sure if there was any damage up there, but you're talking about at least 3 parts of the Miami Valley that got significant damage that you could probably at this stage say was a tornado. We actually saw a debris ball signature in Warren County. Did not, to my knowledge, see one in Mercer, but I would have to look back at Darke County as well. Either way, you're talking about a very active night.
We're talking about a code red weather alert again today. Is there going to be a chance for more tornadoes?
Yes, but very much so on the lower end of the spectrum, Nathan. You know, we talk about sometimes an isolated spin up. I think we may not be quite that low per se, but we're certainly off of yesterday's what was seemingly a likelihood of us seeing tornadoes. There was a point during the afternoon that they launched a weather balloon, and I remember chatting with Natalie and going, that is Oklahoma-esque. That is not good. And that was just before the storms came in. Now today the dynamics will be a little bit different. It'll be warmer. It'll be a little bit more humid, but I think that the main, let's say, push or the main trigger is going to be well off to the south. Still a window during the, let's say, late evening or the mid-evening until the late evening for us to see some showers and thunderstorms, including the potentials there for some stronger ones. I think a lot of the activity, though, will miss not only to our south, but potentially south of Cincinnati. As for tomorrow, scattered showers, perhaps maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder are possible. In terms of today, it's going to be in the 80s, so a day where you can probably get outside early. Some of us will be cleaning up. Others of us will be enjoying a rather nice day. Then tonight, down into the low 60s. Tomorrow, actually only going to be in the low 70s. And tomorrow does look like it is going to be not necessarily the coldest day. As for the threats today, it's going to be low-end tornado, low-end hail, low-end flooding, but we're pointing out any spot that did see significant rain yesterday. We've got at least 24 to 48 hours of more activity. All right, on the roads this morning, here's what's going on. Did get a report at 725 over by Mad River of a pedestrian being struck. Again, we have a photographer heading to the scene. We've been trying to get word on any injuries or whether or not there's going to be any problems with the roads. 725 at Lyons in that general vicinity, and I mean that in the broadest sense. As for everything else, moving okay. Again, some lane closures and road closures, Darke County and Mercer County, in around those areas where we did see destruction.
Greenville is cleaning up this morning after potential tornadoes swept through the Miami Valley.
Melina Brown joins us live with a look at the damage. Melina?
Good morning, guys. If you are just joining us earlier, we did show you the stadium. Now we're out in the parking lot. Take a look at this. This is a huge tree branch that is in the parking lot. That's not the only one. Let's take another look. Let's walk back. This entire parking lot is completely filled with huge tree branches. It's very, very clear that if not a tornado, very strong winds ripped right through this area. Take a look at their tennis court fence. It is, you can see in different places, it's bent, it's broken. There's a lot of damage out here, but we do know that as of last night, there was only one report of a minor injury, no fatalities. Of course, that's always what you want to hear in these situations. We don't want to have to report on any of those devastations, but there is a lot of damage. We know emergency crews have been out since last night. This tornado is expected to have happened maybe between 8 and 8:30 last night. So there's been emergency crews. The area and thousands of people in the area are still without power. When I drove in this morning, there was a ton of trees like the branches that you're seeing right now. In roadways, there was roads blocked off because of huge trees. I'm talking very old, huge trees being completely uprooted from the ground. So it's very clear that something came through this area. The National Weather Service should be heading out here today. They've said that they're working with the Darke County Emergency Management Team, and hopefully they'll be out here some point today to be able to do a survey the damage, and then give us a report on what they think happened here. Well, hopefully we are going to be able to go a little bit more into the community, talk to some folks, see how they're doing. Now, if you are just joining us and you want to see some of that damage that happened to the stadium, I did do a Facebook Live. It was about 30 minutes long. You can see all of the damage there. We're going to be live here on Your Day all morning, but also very active on social media. So for now, I'm going to send things back to you guys in the studio.
Our time right now is 6:22. Here's a look at video from that same storm up in Michigan. We'll take a closer look at that damage and what we can expect for our area today.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
We're now getting a first look at the damage these storms left on other parts of the country. In Michigan, several twisters swept across the southern part of the state. You can see the damage here behind me. Carter Landis joins us now with a closer look at that damage.
Devastating tornado damage blowing through Pavilion Estates, a mobile home park in Kalamazoo. Residents being evacuated due to roofs ripped off and homes flipped upside down. News Channel 3 spoke with Kalamazoo County Sheriff Richard Fuller last night. He told us there were around 16 or 17 homes gone or off their foundation in the mobile home park. First responders lining the streets looking for people and making sure they are safe. Residents handing water to each other, showing a strong sense of community in a dangerous time. Consumers Energy was also on scene. They cut power and gas to all homes. Despite that, Fuller telling us people could stay in their homes if they would have liked, as long as they felt safe and comfortable in doing so. Fuller telling us people have suffered only minor injuries and there are no fatalities at this time. Fuller commending the work his crews and the other crews he has called in have done.
When anything like this hits, you have to bring people in. And once we got everybody, alerted and en route or in on site, it went really well.
Fuller also told us people should stay away from Pavilion Estates if they absolutely do not need to be there. In Kalamazoo, Carter Landis, News Channel 3.
Okay, and so they've seen, several areas up in Michigan have actually dealt with this. I feel like this is just hitting everyone, really.
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about this, there were 3 separate areas in Michigan that did have damage that was reported, or either video or a possible tornado. We have Warren County, Darke County, and also Mercer County as well in our area, and that's not even counting Oklahoma the day before that. So
Okay,
a lot
well,
of the area.
here at home, what should we expect for today?
Well, it could be another active day, although we're trending a lot less active. We are under the level 2, and in fact, some parts of our area may be actually under the level 1, so effectively a lower end risk. Worth pointing out that Louisville area, they are under level 3. That's where we were yesterday. There's actually a level 4. That's where there's a likelihood of a actual outbreak of severe weather. In fact, large hail is probably the primary concern there, but for us, it does seem like a lower end. Does that completely put us out of the woods? No. What I'll point out is, yeah, we could see maybe an isolated tornado or 2 or large hail, but by and large, your bigger threat is going to be for those destructive winds. We didn't really necessarily see a lot of that yesterday. We did have the 2 storms produce tornadoes, and we also did get several reports of hail in and around the area, but it was really the tornadoes that were probably the big storyline. Obviously, whenever you do get them, they tend to be. Also, we're pointing out, based on yesterday's heavy rain in parts of the area and more potentially heavy rain over the next 24 hours, could see some low-lying areas begin to get some ponding water. On the roads this morning, couple things that we are looking at right for now. Things moving smoothly on the interstate. Still working to get more information on that pedestrian strike. We do have a reporter headed, a photographer headed that way. So once we do get him in place, we'll be able to give you an update. But for right now, things are okay outside.
All right, folks, today's poll question's an all-timer, let me tell you. The question is, if dogs and cats became the size of a full-grown moose, which would you rather have as a pet? Get your answers in right. Not Max, man. He's a wild one. Coming up at 6:50, we'll share our answers and take a look at what some of you had to say.
Our time right now is 6:29, still to come.
Folks are waking up to heavy damage out here in Greenville, Ohio. What we're seeing this morning is coming up.
But first, here's Julie Moran with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
We're a family of athletes, and we all experience tightness and soreness in our muscles, and we're always looking for easy, safe solutions. And I love Pain Gone because it's so easy to apply. Look at that. You just peel it off. I'm going to put it on my forearm where I get tightness. Also, I get a lot of tightness in my shoulders, and it fits so comfortably and provides such relief. I also like that it has 3 different settings. There's soft pulses, strong pulses, or a combination of both. And there's also 12 intensity levels, so you find what works for you. And if you want to wear it under your clothing, sometimes I do, it's great because it's not big, it's not bulky, easy to conceal. And this is great for anyone who has aches and pains and sits at their desk all day. It's wireless, and it gives you relief with just the touch of a button. You get relief in just 15 minutes, and there's no limit to how often you can use it. These gel pads will last 2 to 3 months, and that's a great value. Now, normally you may have to take over-the-counter medicine, and you would have to wait hours to take another dose. This is the natural pain-free option that you need, and right now we're offering 30% off on Pain Gone. This is an amazing product. It's gonna sell out fast. Head to asadeals.com right now for this very, very exclusive offer.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
And then all of a sudden, there's fences everywhere. The roads are blocked. There's people going outside, just checking out all the damage. It's a little overwhelming.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties waking up to storm damage after possible tornadoes ripped through the Miami Valley. This is a barn in Fort Recovery that was hit. You can see the roof ripped off and emergency crews responding to the scene.
Right now, we are still under a code red weather alert as we keep our eyes on another set of storms today. Meteorologist Nick Maruziak will have more on that in just a second.
But first, we begin our live team coverage with Melena Brown. She is in Greenville this morning, where the community is cleaning up at this hour. Melena?
Guys, we actually just moved locations. If you've been watching us throughout the morning, you know that we were over at the football stadium. We're not too far from there, but I want to give you a look at what we're seeing inside of the Greenville Community Park. Look at this tree. This is a huge, huge tree that is completely knocked off. Now, it's not uprooted, but we have seen some other trees about this size uprooted completely from the ground. But look at how large this tree is, how tall it is. You can see all of the damage that goes back further down from where we are. The park, you can see other trees going this way. Some of the some of the roof from this pavilion right here, the tin roof, has completely flown off. There's actually two pavilions where there's roof ripped off. And then you can see all of the branches, all of the trees that are all over this park. Our photographer who's with me now he did tell me, you know, he lives in Darke County, not too far from here in Greenville. And he says that these parks are loved. They're frequently used by the kids in the community. They're always busy, packed, and so it's really, really sad to see all of this damage here and the amount of cleanup that it's going to take. But while there is a ton of damage, as of last night, there was only one minor injury reported, which is very good news to hear. We always get worried in these situations. We want people to be safe. We have our meteorologist last night telling you guys, you know, get to your safe place. And so to hear that there isn't anything serious happened to anyone so far that we know of is really promising. But what we're seeing here is a lot of damage. We know emergency crews have been out since last night, starting to get work done here. There is still power out. Thousands of people without power. When we drove in this morning, there wasn't power, but now that the sun is up, we're able to see a lot of what you couldn't overnight. And so it's giving us a more clear picture of what happened here just based off what we're seeing. Of course, we have to wait for the National Weather Service to come out and do their survey. They did tell us they're working with the Darke County Emergency Management Team to come out and set up a time to do a survey. But from the looks of it, from some of the damage we're seeing, it does appear that a tornado probably came right through where we're standing right now. We're going to continue to go throughout this community, see if we can talk to people, see how they're doing this morning. But for right now, I am going to send things back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, we have a video here behind us. You could see that funnel cloud right there.
Yeah, exactly. And we did get actually some videos from that area, some other videos from some of the other storms as well. So this was well documented. Our producer, can you just tell us where this is or where this is from? Obviously, I believe this is the Darke County one, correct? Yeah, so this is still Darke County, just a different view of it. Yeah, Nathan, a couple things. Here's your wall cloud. Obviously, the funnel there, if not a full-on tornado, depending on whether or not it was at the ground at that given point.
Yeah, certainly a mess out there to be cleaned up today, and we're expecting more rocky weather as a possibility.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get to the weather wall, and we'll kind of show you what's going on right for now. We do have a frontal boundary that is shunted off to the south. This will rise as a warm front across our area. May end up in the southern part of the Miami Valley later on today, which would be your chance at some stronger storms. For the rest of this morning, actually gradually clearing out. It's starting out partly cloudy. Do expect it to eventually become, generally speaking, sunny. As for later on today, still a window for us to see strong to severe storms, narrow window, and one that actually doesn't have anywhere near the dynamics that we did yesterday, but still a chance for that. On the roads this morning, couple things we're watching. Obviously, we do have those damages up in Mercer and Darke County. State Road 49 between 5th and 4th Street in Greenville, and then State Road 219 near State Line Road and Wabash Road. That again up in Mercer County. 70 near Brookville Salem Pike. There is road construction on 70 east and westbound. And there was an earlier incident on 75 and 675 when the entrance ramps does look like that may be cleared. Wasn't really much of an issue, but again, we do have a couple of spots around town right for now.
We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. And play Mother's Day Mania for your chance to win. Just watch your day and look for the QR code to enter. Get the trivia question right, you could win your mom a $100 prepaid debit card and a chance to be the $5,000 weekly winner. For complete contest rules, go to Dayton247now.com.
Our time right now is 6:39. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Taking a live look in Greenville this morning, we're waking up to some damage after a tornado went through the area last night. Melina Brown joins us just ahead with what she's seeing.
You're watching Your Day.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A very active Tuesday afternoon in the Kalamazoo, Michigan area. Heavy rain and at least 2 tornadoes were reported in Portage, south of Kalamazoo. Storms sent this tree toppling over onto a truck while snapping these like twigs, and busting windows of businesses, leaving roofs a crumpled mess. Hail of various sizes fell, some of it like golf balls and larger.
Greenville is cleaning up this morning after potential tornadoes swept through the Miami Valley.
Melina Brown joins us live with a look at the damage. Melina?
Good morning, guys. We're doing a little bit of a dual live right now. I am live on Facebook for any of our viewers that use social media, and also live right now, but we're deeper into the park now. You can see a lot of this damage to these trees. I'm talking very old, very large trees that are devastated. Our photographer just took a look around this building. That happens to be a concession stand. It looks like a wall on the other side is cracked, and then we do have a part of a tree here that has hit the roof of this building. And what's crazy to see is there are some trees that are completely untouched, and then you have other trees that are completely damaged. I was able to take a look through the actual park equipment, and it doesn't look like there's too much damage to the park equipment itself, but obviously there will have to be a lot of cleanup. And like we said earlier, as of last night, only one minor injury reported as of last night. We know during these night storms, we get nervous because, we want people to be aware. We want to make sure they have alerts and that they're in a safe place when these storms start to stir up. And so we're really glad to hear that only one minor injury was reported. What I've seen now walking through this park is what seems to be maybe a lot of confused animals that have gone through this storm as well, that have now had their homes destroyed. But we know that the cleanup efforts are underway. We know people are waking up this morning, gathering as a community, getting ready to clean this up. And of course, there is officials, city officials, working as well. City management getting this cleaned up and done. There's actually a woman here who seems in shock just seeing this park right now. Very sad to see. I know this is going to be devastating for the entire community. I'm told this park is heavily used, and so it's just sad to see, but we're hoping that maybe we can get this cleaned up sooner rather than later. And we do know that the National Weather Service should be heading out here at some point today. They're working with the Darke County Emergency Management Team, and as soon as we know more information from them, we'll be sure to bring you that update here on air and online. Back to you.
Our time right now is 6:45. Here's a look at today's poll question. If dogs and cats became the size of a full-grown moose, which would you rather have as a pet? Get your answers into our Facebook page. Little Producer Max joins us with a look at what some of you had to say next.
We've had some interesting poll questions over the years. This one takes the cake. Yep, you're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, time to take a look outside where this morning we are right now somewhat cloudy out there, a little bit of a haze, a low-hanging cloud deck. There continues to be the signs that we could see another round of storms, potentially 6 to 10 p.m. in that ballpark of basically where yesterday's storms hit. Not as conducive an environment for severe weather. If we do get any, probably more likely across the south. That's just due to the fact that that's where, again, there is a little bit more likelihood of a frontal boundary ending up. For tomorrow, periods of on again, off again showers. Today, realistically, the last day that we need to be worried about any type of severe weather. We'll see showers and cooler temperatures beginning tomorrow. Low 60s for Friday. More showers and perhaps even a couple rumbles of thunder on your Saturday. Sunday, highs will be upper 60s. Low to mid 70s on Monday and Tuesday. So it kind of settles down after an up and down period, but this is about to get weird. Let's do this thing.
All right, speaking of weird, digital producer Max is the king of weird, and Max, this question is an old-timer.
It's dogs and cats.
It's a
No,
weird, it's a,
no,
no downplay. It's a weird,
Okay,
random
what is
question.
the question?
Okay, the question is, hypothetically, dogs and cats, poof, they're the size of full-grown moose. Pretty big creatures. Which would you rather have as a pet? And that's, yeah, I know you couldn't fit them in your house, but just roll with me here.
Okay, so this is like the Clifford edition of the poll
Exactly,
question.
yeah.
Okay, so for me, I'm going with a cat on this one, okay? With their jumping and climbing skills, can you imagine riding a cat and scaling buildings? Let's go.
No.
Legal ramifications to that, Nathan.
We don't need to, well, we're talking about cats the size of mooses. I don't think laws apply at that point.
Alex?
I'm picking a moose-size Atlas.
Fair enough. And I am going dogs because otherwise we have cat overlords. Nathan thinks we could tame them. I don't think so.
No.
Max?
You make good points. I'd probably go with cats just because. Dogs, you have to pick up their droppings. Cats, they do that themselves. And
Yeah, you get a cat, you live by a beach, you
I'm
don't have
not
to do
picking up
anything.
my dog's poop if he's the size of a moose. Sorry.
somebody has to.
That's
Gotta be a
fertilizer.
responsible owner.
You think of things I would not think of, Max, and that's why we love you. Our time right now is 6:52. You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
It just came out of nowhere. We heard branches start busting everywhere. Our fence actually got taken out, and then our vehicle is actually probably damaged because a tree landed on it, but my family is okay, and that's the important part.
This morning, parts of Darke and Mercer counties waking up to storm damage after possible tornadoes ripped through the Miami Valley. This is a neighborhood in Greenville where residents worked through the night to clean up.
Right now, we are still under a code red weather alert as we get ready for a second round of storms today. Meteorologist Nick Maruziak will have more on that in a second.
But first, we begin with Milena Brown. She's live in Greenville this morning, where we saw a bulk of the damage overnight. Milena?
Good morning again, guys. I am still here in Greenville City Park, where there's a ton of trees, a ton of branches, and a ton of leaves all over this park. Let's take a look here. Fortunately, I've been able to walk around this entire park, and none of the park equipment is damaged, but there will be a ton of cleanup for all of the trees that are just through the equipment. Now, I was able to just speak with a woman named Jana. She was walking through the park, and she, started telling me she was a little girl that lived in this community and loved this park. She said she even wanted to live in this park. Last night, she was at a city council meeting discussing what they could do for the park, getting it fixed up, getting it cleaned up, and then to wake up this morning and see the park. She said it's devastated, but the most important thing to her is hearing that no one was hurt, no one died in last night's tornado, and she said all of this can be fixed. She said the community will come together and they will get this done. She said it may take time, but they will get this done and they will get this fixed. We're going to try and go on. I am on live on Facebook, and people are asking a lot of questions, checking out different areas, and that's what we want to do for you guys this morning, is answer your questions and show you as much as possible. We're going to be heading out throughout the Greenville community this morning and keeping you guys updated. We do know that there's emergency crews out trying to get some of this cleanup started, trying to get things under control, and we do know that the National Weather Service is working with the Darke County Emergency Management Department. They will be out here today to do a survey. As soon as we have their report on what happened here in Greenville, we're going to bring you that update here on air and online.
A big part of determining what kind of tornado this was is taking a look at not only the radar from the last 24 hours, but the damage on the ground as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can only tell so much by the radar. We can look at it and go, there was probably a tornado, but what you want to do is look at, okay, was there ground damage? Obviously, Milena is doing a great job showcasing that damage in the park. We had her at Harmon, the field where that was damaged as well. So the crews will be going there. They'll be looking at everything from trees and bark on trees to how tall the trees were to how sturdy the structures were. All of those can give us details about how strong a potential tornado was in there.
Could the weather today possibly hang up the cleanup efforts?
It could, but honestly, I think that a lot of the area will stay generally quiet, so it will be a little bit better than yesterday.
That's good. Alex?
And now we have a live look at the AES Ohio outage map, where you can see that there are over 2,600 people that are without power this morning. We will